I want someone to stand up for me. I want someone to say, she's more than that. Because
what's wrong, Keita?
I understand you, and I think that your feelings are valid. I'm just irritated with the world because imagine a world where we're like, a man saying that I'm his woman, I'm his wife, I'm his girl, means protection. It means all this stuff. I get shielded from, you didn't say this, but this is what I perceive. Mm-hmm. I get shielded from those comments of, you'll never find a man. Yeah. I get shielded from those comments of, why are you single?
Nobody wants to be with you.
Nobody wants to be with you. You overly masculine, hyper independent, think you successful, ass because you wear this and that ass. And please, God, don't be black.
We can put a label on it. That's
I know it is.
What it is.
No matter what they may claim, all women desire relationships. I've been single for 5 years, and it's getting gloomy. To quote from JG's piece, a single glance at Janelle Test's Instagram tells us all we need to know about her. She appears to be every bit the meet-up-obsessed female with a lack of self-awareness or control that the normal American woman tends to be. It's interesting to note that, prior to that essay, she had previously written articles explaining why she had never put her life on hold for a man. She discussed the reasons why women shouldn't pursue guys, regardless of how much they like them. Now, the reason I brought these up is that they conflict with the piece from today. She's upset about being unmarried for 5 years, and she doesn't want to put her life on hold for a man who won't chase him the next. This is how women behave politely. They proclaim, I don't need a man. Men are canines. Men are worthless. Male tears bathe me. I'm a powerful, independent woman. However, they are aware deep down that a woman's capacity to seduce a good man is the actual test of her strength. They write about how much they despise guys and how unnecessary we are 1 week. The following week, they are down about being single and having a difficult time finding a mate due to their awful looks. We consequently caught Janelle in her today. I'll admit it. I definitely require a guy face. Being single doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong, although sometimes it feels that way. The article's opening line reads, I haven't been in a committed relationship for more than 5 years, yet occasionally I still think about it. I speculate as to why that might be. In actuality, it's just that my time isn't yet right for a relationship. She is therefore in denial from the beginning. She may not believe she is doing improperly, but the fact that she says this suggests she is aware that she is the issue. She can't say that out loud right now since it would damage her brand and probably cause her followers to stop following her. She is aware, however, that she is the common factor in all of her unsuccessful relationships. Then she claims that she starts to think about it, as if her thoughts are unfounded or an exaggerated response. I get in my head about it as if to say I'm making a big deal out of something that really isn't a big problem, which is how women characterize a legitimate concern that they don't want to give credibility to. Janelle, you haven't been in a relationship for 5 years, which means 4. First off, you've increased your body count by dozens of guys. The men you've slept with don't think you're worth dealing with outside of meeting up, which means number 2, you're not good for anything else, which means number 3, and number 4, you're only good for meeting up. This is significant, particularly for a lady whose appeal has suddenly plummeted. You're in your early 30s, sweetheart. In your late 20s, a man would have attempted to settle down with you. However, given the large number of eager guys around, the fact that you haven't been able to win a man over is a problem, and you know it. However, perhaps you are only thinking about it in your brain, so let's hold off on the panic for now. I know there's nothing wrong with me, she asserts logically. When I give it some serious thought, I realize that I am not inherently flawed in any way. There is nothing seriously wrong with me or that needs to be fixed. I am a charming individual. She asserts that being single does not alter the reality that I am a valuable human being, just as I am. On my good days, I can convince myself that I believe all of this. She can do all she wants to make up stories about this to herself and others, but everyone who reads this knows she is damaged and cannot be. She now claims that she is a lovable person in her current state, but she is unaware that her definition of lovable encompasses much more than just having fun in the bedroom. Ladies, pay close attention because you need to hear this. A man may want to meet up with you, but it does not necessarily mean he wants to get serious with you. Women sometimes confuse a man's desire to commit to them with his desire to be personal with them, which is why they never develop themselves enough to be worthy of. Just because you're great in bed doesn't mean you're a good candidate for a girlfriend. She is partially true when she states that not being in a relationship doesn't imply she's not a valuable human being. This is why women who have more tattoos than friends describe themselves as lovable and as though they're deserving of commitment just the way they are now. There are many gals out there that aren't good for commitment but nonetheless have their uses. First, they provide men simple ways to have fun in the bedroom, which helps to keep us at ease. Second, they serve as an example for other women on how not to locate a good man. Thirdly, they serve as a warning for young girls who are thinking about becoming feminists. She therefore adds worth in her own unique way, but she does not feel this way because she admits right there at the end that she only holds this belief on her good days, indicating that she is aware that she is deceiving herself. By the way, any woman who says, "On my good days," is categorically stating that she is probably taking an antidepressant or anti-anxiety drug. Now, that doesn't always imply that she has a mental illness. Without a doubt she might, but we must realize that the female brain was not created to withstand the psychological and emotional strain that comes from sharing her body with so many. And as a result, women who move from guided to guys frequently experience anxiety and despair, which accounts for the fact that 1 in 4 women take either antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications, probably both. In actuality, I feel deranged. She keeps going, despite the fact that I am broken. Because of who I am and the mistakes I've made, I feel like a complete disaster who simply does not deserve to be in a good relationship. My mind is a nasty place. Man, I'm my own harshest critic, the woman claims. It's challenging to believe that I seriously lack certain quality. I'm trying to silence these inner whispers, but sometimes it seems like an uphill struggle. She now maintains 100% of the time. She is broken. So she feels broken. Having just turned 30, she is already irreparably wounded. She is a complete disaster and is aware that she has no business being in a loving relationship. You're curious as to why. Because she knows that quality relationships require quality partners, and quality partners don't commit to women who look or act like her. She made such errors, and that's why she's depressed. Typical errors most American women engage in: lying, infidelity, polygamy, numerous meetups every day, etc. That was a mistake she made. She is aware that the action she has taken that she once characterized as being free-spirited will turn guys off. She implies that she holds herself to a high level by saying that she is her own worst critic. However, what she truly means to say is that she can't get her thoughts to stop telling her the truth about herself. These inner voices she heard, she is attempting to silence the whispers in her head that are her conscience warning her that she has been a hopeless case from number 300. Furthermore, I'm not referring about Lee and Ida in his RV. She doesn't want to, but she does. Accept this. And for that reason, this is a difficult war. I've been in partnerships. Just shorter ones, she says. She goes on. It's not like I haven't had romantic or sensual interaction with anyone in the past 5 years. I've met a lot of people. Even so, I have occasionally been in relationships. They simply don't last very long. The longest, in my opinion, was a staggering 6 weeks. I get so irritated over being single for such a long time because I feel like I can't sustain a relationship in part because of this. This is the point where she genuinely thinks we are. She must be leading a nun's life because she hasn't been with a man for 5 years. I have no idea. Why women believe that when they declare, "I haven't been in a relationship for 3 years," it indicates that their legs have been tied down the entire time. Miss Tester reveals that she and other women who use this term presume that people assume she hasn't been in a relationship during that time, which is why she said it's not like I haven't had sex with anyone in 5 years. I've met a lot of people. That means I've had lots of fun in the bedroom, she claims. Why then do you claim to have been alone for 5 years if you've only been in shorter relationships? One-night stands fail the test, so I know. And you are aware that friendships with perks are not relationships. Girls are aware that men prefer to be in relationships with them because they are advantageous to them on the outside. The fact that this girl told us she had been unmarried for 5 years is certainly not ideal. She then tries to save face by claiming that I had had romances, albeit brief ones. No, sweetie. A friendship isn't formed when you get plowed in the bar's restroom. A relationship cannot be established by sleeping with a man for 2 weeks without ever learning his last name. 48 minutes after meeting, having your back blown out by a tender date. Calling these relationships very short-lived doesn't fool anyone. And the 6-week relationship she mentioned was probably with a guy who had a girlfriend she was aware of but refused to tell him about. Despite the fact that she was aware she was playing second fiddle to another woman, she hoped he would leave his girlfriend for her. Miss Test once more, there is no association. That man merely exploited you as a means of amusement while his partner was away at work. Nothing. She claims that it has been 5 years for me to not be in a committed relationship. She goes on, some individuals are in back-to-back alters. Although it isn't my concern what other people do, it's difficult to avoid comparisons. I've only been alone for about 5 years, and I haven't yet met the appropriate person to start a family with. Oh, she wants to lay responsibility on men now. Now that she wants to play. I just haven't met the ideal guy to settle down with since my standards are so high. Guys, this one is easy. Not that she hasn't discovered the ideal match. She hasn't been telling these guys they didn't make the cut. Sorry, no girl child. The roles are reversed. Nobody is being rejected by you. They're turning their backs on you. You can't fire me since I quit is the equivalent of what this girl just said. Whatever age your nighttime sleep, she is on around 50% of the time. It was a decision, she goes on. I've been alone for a while, but at least half of that time was a conscious decision. I've chosen to be alone myself purposefully. Being single has given me conflicting emotions. I both love and hate it. I sometimes like having time to myself, and other times I don't. All they want to do is pass the time with someone else. When a woman claims to have been single for a long time, the truth is revealed by this man because, as you can see, she decided to be single. I want to meet up. Thus, I want to have sporadic meetups without being committed. But she's not telling us that the first 2.5 years of the 5 years she chose to remain alone were also the first 2.5 years she had no interest in dating. They gorge themselves on the never-ending banquet of men because they are the impulsive beings that they are, lacking restraint, discipline, and self-control. But somewhere down the line, perhaps around the age of 28, 29, she discovered that she wanted to be in a relationship. Not because she was sick of meeting up, but rather because she began to see a decline in the amount of interest she received from men in their early 20s. Oh, these guys still want to meet up with her. However, she began to see that they aren't becoming as attached as they once were. Like when she was 21, 22, they weren't advocating exclusivity in the form of a committed relationship. So about halfway during her brief 5-year binge, she made the decision to try it out briefly to see whether she was still interested. "Hey, you want to take this thing to the next level?" she asked. He responded, "Thanks, but I'll pass. We can get rid of the safe word." Oh no, these guys don't want to commit anymore, she thought to herself. I need to get a boyfriend right away. And that marked the beginning of the second half of her brief 5-year romance dry spell, during which she began angling for relationships and experiencing rejection. So, 2.5 years after learning that it was her time, here she is, writing an article about her 5 years of singledom, and then dishonestly claiming that half of it was intentional will make us think that she wavered between wanting relationships and having possibilities for them over the course of the last 5 years, when in fact the decision to be alone and not in a relationship hasn't been made by her, but rather for her. It has only been made in the last half. Well done, Janelle. However, I'll give you credit for this. You almost got away with that one. I've had occasions when I really wanted some privacy. She claims there have been a few situations where remaining alone was the best course of action. For instance, I was using dating apps for hours every day and going on numerous first dates. I lost control of myself. She claims that when a friend had an intervention with her, she understood it was time for her to take a big breath and spend some time by herself. Are you serious? In the intervening. So let me clarify that. In a short period of time, you were meeting up with a lot of males. Your friend made the decision to organize an intervention. This suggests that even her promiscuous buddies were unhappy with how many guys she was meeting up with. This lady was being run over and over by so many guys. And let's not let this brief remark slip by. She mentioned several first dates. She therefore attends all of these first dates every week, which implies there won't be a second date the following week. As a result, she meets up with every single guy she meets on a first date. Guys, we all know that girls get passed around frequently. So if this girl is out of control, don't worry. It's well known that. However, a woman is the worst of the worst whenever her friends have to arrange an intervention, because even they find the amount of men she's meeting up with to be uncomfortable. This girl's genetic code has likely been entirely changed because of the large amount of male DNA that is present in her. Although she currently has brown eyes, she most likely was born with blue eyes. Jesus, I am aware that I have hope. Despite feeling like a piece of dirt at times, she claims, I know there is hope for me. I appreciate who I am, and I'm confident that someone else feels the same way. I simply have to go through this time. It's crucial to hold on to the notion that one day I'll meet the proper person and that I won't only use them to escape from myself. Ladies and gentlemen, this girl despises herself and believes there is no chance for her. How do I know she despises who she is, exactly? Because she behaves destructively toward herself. Guys, check out her website to see how she appears. She has numerous large, noticeable tattoos, including the banana gobbler, bowl piercing, which is considered self-harm, a sign of low self-worth. Her categorization is the same. Low self-worth females look for self-worth by meeting up with plenty of guys to boost their self-esteem. Hoping from guy to guy never works because, despite what they claim to believe, they are aware that any girl is capable of acting in such a way without even trying. So the confirmation they're looking for is the status quo. A lady can attract meetups just by existing. Because she is a bit of dirt, she occasionally believes that she is. All of these thoughts kept coming to her mind. She knows the writing is on the wall, but she simply cannot admit it because if she does, things would quickly get worse. As a result, she deceives herself by telling herself there is still hope for her. This is not a phase, my love. Your current position in life won't alter. If you don't, another antidepressant will be prescribed. So you and other women like you need to hold on to the hope that you'll find the proper partner. Because you'll start acting even more destructively toward yourself if you genuinely accept to yourself that you'll never be in a relationship of significance with a man you respect and love. But occasionally, I still feel helpless. I may sound like I'm all over the place here, but I'm not, she claims. I have a lot of hope, but I also experience hopelessness at times. I have the impression that I'll never find the right partner or be content in a relationship. Despite the fact that it's not true at all, I occasionally view the gap in time I've experienced as a failure. That much is obvious. She is all over the place. She simply claims to have a lot of hope when she knows she has none. She keeps saying, I have hope, to us. I'm hopeful, but who exactly is she attempting to persuade here? Janelle, stop lying to yourself, hun, her mind tells her every time it escapes her mouth. jolting her back into reality. You are not deserving of dedication. These are her honest, genuine views after she has abandoned her own. Then she admits that although she tries to think otherwise, she occasionally views this gap as a failure. Dude, this woman is writing this essay while thinking aloud. We are witnessing the real thinking process as it unfolds, and it seems like her mind is at battle with itself. You've been unmarried for 5 years, sweetheart, and that's a failure. You keep having these thoughts because you are aware that they are true. Go take a medicine so you can keep believing in hope, please. She declares, I'm working on my own development. I'm making the most of this time by improving myself. I even participate in a 12-step program for dating and physical intimacy. I'm trying to develop a new way of thinking and acting based on my patterns after looking at my past ones. Through school, a sport, and being the greatest friend, daughter, and sister I can be, I'm improving myself as a person. All of this is for my benefit. When I start dating someone, she says, oh, now she wants to concentrate on personal development. After meeting a man for 30 minutes, she now wants to avoid sleeping with him. She is enrolled in a 12-step program that aims to rewire her brain to prevent her from being a promiscuous woman. Here's an idea. How about focusing on your own development when you're, 16 or 17, just as your fertility is about to peak? You won't need to untrain yourself to stop switching guys if you do it that way. It's absurd that this woman believes she can simply improve herself and repair all the harm done to her by meeting up with all these guys. That's really ridiculous that she believes it will make her more valuable. This lady honestly thinks that if she only picks up a new sport, returns to school, and puts an end to being selfish, guys will stop seeing her for what she truly is, a receptacle with pink or purple hair, and stop being selfish. When I start seeing someone, all of this will help me. She claims that she is not acting in this manner because it is morally appropriate. She isn't deleting her Tinder because she is aware of how damaging it is to her body, psyche, and sense of self. She is not improving herself and becoming in shape because it will help her. Oh, she is completely mistaken in her belief that performing these things will help her find a man. Oh yes, she will receive a lot of proposals, but they will all be from men once more. I'm saving myself since she isn't interested. For the proper person, she claims. Oh man, she claims that in the past, when I was involved in numerous relationships, I was dating the wrong individuals. I dated individuals that weren't suitable for me. She claims that now I am aware of both my worth and the value of my time. If they don't, I won't give it to them. I'm choosing to be single instead since I haven't found the right person yet. How many times must we listen to the same song, gentlemen, before we understand that all ladies are the same? This girl is stating what every girl says when she realizes that no decent men are interested in her any longer. I've come to my senses and see that I shouldn't be sleeping around. I now understand that the meetups, vols, and bad males were not healthy for me. I now understand that using Tinder isn't the best course of action. Now that I am aware of how much more I am worth, I will not surrender my body to just anyone. I'll put off having physical intimacy with men in the future, since I realize my value goes well beyond a single night. Every girl, without exception, starts singing the same old song in their mid to late 30s. It has become so monotonously predictable. Janelle, you are absolutely correct. They weren't good for you, the bad boys. You're right about that part, but you're mistaken when you say that you're no longer valuable beyond a one-night stand. Because every guy has had, every man deserves you. Because you haven't found the right person, you aren't staying single. You're not choosing to remain single. You have now achieved the status of a forced celibate in feminine form. Now, Donovan, some of you might be thinking that she has unlimited access to sausage. She couldn't truly be incarcerated, can she? A good query. So let me explain. However, guys who are involuntarily CELs are in prison because they want to date women. They are not attractive to women, thus they don't want to have intimate relationships with them. Miss Test isn't exactly in the same situation right now. The boat she is on is capsized. can lift weights, play games, and save at least in cells. Money in prisons is pitiful, true, but they can always change their minds. They're males. Then again, you want a relationship but are unable to find one since respectable guys are unwilling to commit. The distinction is that you cannot reverse it. The harm these connections have done to your body, mind, and spirit is irreversible, regardless of how much weight you shed or how long you go without using Tinder. Men who are damaged can be fixed. Ms. Tessa, a broken woman, is unable. Unfortunately, you won't realize this until you've been taking your third anti-anxiety medication, which is bad news for you and other women like you. I, Janelle Testa, am another example of a woman who has to persuade herself that there is still hope for her to meet a decent man. Now we can all sit here and make fun of her irrational beliefs, but the truth is that these ladies have to believe these things to themselves in order to go to sleep at night. Women like her would be miserable if they accepted the reality of their lives as eternally unmarried women who despise men, drink wine by the box, and possess a half-dozen cats. Donovan, Not every woman will be unhappy if she can't find a good man. If that were the case, why are antidepressants prescribed to 25% of women? Women are free to express themselves whatever they wish. They can present themselves as being fine with losing the capacity to draw highly desirable men. They can pretend to be #living my best life with all that other stuff to attempt to fool us into thinking they aren't crying inside, but we are aware of the reality. Likewise, you. This is the reason women who write articles like her, Annie Horton, and Hannah Coleman do so. In the end, women always come clean, and the Janelle test is no exception.